Are you here? Are you hearing us? Maybe you should start by telling us where you are.
I'm not sure.
He doesn't seem as if he can hear us. I will get back to Larry. We'll get back to Larry in a little while. But Larry is in Adama. We were in the middle of a discussion actually, and profs, the two profs that I have to now be more specific, Professor Jinodu and Professor Dekalu. Before we come to you, Ijoma, you have some information from
Yeah, before you come, I mean, obviously we've been having this conversation about what to do about infractions on the day. I mean, we don't hope any infractions will come up, but what to do on the day. So, and the Economic and Financial Crimes Commission has released hotlines against electoral fraud. So if you see anything, these are the hotlines. The Commission is asking Nigerians to alert the agency where there is an attempt to compromise the general election. So again, the idea is that we read out these numbers to you, and if you see anything which you think amounts to electoral fraud, then you use any of the hotlines. The numbers are as follows. For the Abuja headquarters, it's 081-412-19896. Alternative number is 090-7792-8772, and you can see all the other numbers there for our Port Harcourt, for Kano, for Kaduna, for Enugu as well, and also for Maiduguri. There are also numbers there for Uyo, for Sokoto, the Ilorin office as well, and numbers in Ibadan. Most of these numbers, or all the numbers, are on our website, channelstv.com. So go to the website, look for the numbers for the location where you are, and if you see anything you feel is tantamount to say something. If you see something, say something on any of the numbers.
Well, hopefully the other security agencies will be reeling out their own toll-free numbers as well. So
yes, earlier in the day I heard that from Frank Mba, the police public relations officer. I think I understand we can now go to Ibadan. That is the Oyo State capital, where our correspondent Buki Orewo is standing by. Buki, what can you tell us? What is the situation on the eve of the election in the nation's single biggest city?
The office of the central bank here in Ibadan, the Oyo State capital, is a beehive of activities today. It's hosting an unusual amount of crowd of people as a result of the elections tomorrow. As you can see behind me, ballot papers are here, result sheets are here, although some are still being awaited. But currently, from the information gathered from INEC, we have result sheets and ballot papers for all the 14 federal constituencies already present here, and some of them are actually being sorted out behind me. We have 3 senatorial districts in Oyo State, and 2 of those senatorial districts are already here. I mean, the materials for those senatorial districts, that's Oyo South and Oyo North. We are currently awaiting the arrival of result sheets and ballot papers for Oyo Central Senatorial District. Apart from that, all the result sheets for the presidential election are in, but they are still awaiting the ballot papers. That's the update from here right now. And as you can see behind me, sorting is ongoing. We have a heavy presence of security here. It is tight. And then we have representatives of party officials. We have representatives of INEC and other electoral officers who are actually seeing to the sorting out of all those electoral materials for the appropriate election polling units and polling booths across the entire state. From CBN here in Oyo State, Bukola Oriowo, Channels Television News.
All right, I understand we can go back now right across the country to Lanre Lasisi. Lanre, where exactly are you in Adamawa State?
I'm in Jamita, which is also known as Yola North. And I'm at the INEC office. This is the INEC office in
Of course, these difficulties are likely to occur and reoccur because all this is dependent upon, and some of these areas are fairly difficult to access, and some of this technology might find it challenging to get it. We hope we can get back to Larry in a couple of minutes. We would like to hear from Adamawa State, that's in the northeast of the country, where, as we have been talking about, there are some expectations from those areas. But while we wait for the reconnection to Larry, we were going to go back to...
You were going to talk about security, yeah.
There is what has to do with the issue of human rights. And I mean, talking about the IDPs. And
Malaki already answered one part. You were going to send the other part.
About the uncertainty about... So the question is... now, we have information about non-indigents in Kano, for instance, being concerned about what will happen to them.
I hope Professor Dinkalu is listening to this.
Hoping that they will not have a repeat of the post-election situation that was in 2011. Yeah. So they are moving themselves out of there. What assurances
What do you say moving themselves? What do you mean?
They are
relocating. There's no delicate way to put it.
Sabongari area, some of them doing Sabongari area of Kano metropolis say they have fears of a repeat. Hopefully that will not happen.
About how many? Did they have a number?
No number is given here. So,
Professor Dinkalu, what do you make of that? I mean, you used to be in charge of this kind of thing for a while in the past. Again, this goes back to the issue of security. People having fears. Kano had been in the past, in the recent past, not too recent, but in the recent past, a flashpoint. And non-indigents, the reports we have are that non-indigents are leaving in droves for their home states in the belief that, well, things cool down. Actually, I heard someone say that precisely, that when things cool down after the elections, we'll come back.
Actually, Kano has not much been associated with targeted attacks on non-indigents around elections. It's true that as an inheritance of the colonial experience, you do have a bit of locational segregation in terms of human settlement. And so Sabongari, for instance, is a settlement of non-indigents from outside the north. Tudunwada is historically actually also a settlement of non-indigents from within the north. And then you have the walled city and all of that. That's accurate. But Kano is not really been usually associated with these issues. That said, electoral transhumance, which is what I call it, has been a feature of quite a few of our elections in the past. That is, people moving from a place where they consider themselves non-indigents to places where they think they are much safer in case there is a problem in the elections. And I like to think that this is really why leadership is required across the board and across all the parties. Every political party, every political leader has a responsibility here to communicate effectively and positively and reassure people that irrespective of where you are in the country, all of us are citizens of one country. And an election really is a festival of civic belonging. It's a time when citizenship is celebrated, notwithstanding our differences of opinion as to who should lead us under what program. And I do think that if such a thing is happening, it is cause for leadership to emerge and make itself heard in the right way.
Now, Professor Jinadu, you have monitored elections. The lady sitting in between the two profs has made it clear that she's a politician.
Exactly.
So we'll come to her last because this challenge is for you. But, Prof, what do you make of this? I mean, it's not just Kano. We use Kano as the example, but in other parts of the country, there's this, as Professor Dinkalu called it, migration during election season. People moving from areas where they think they are not safe to areas where they think there's more safety, and then going back to those areas when things have returned to normal, so to speak.
What is the question?
The question is, what do you make? What do you make of this? What do you make of this movement of people back and forth during electioneering periods, from areas considered unsafe to areas safe and then back?
I think I will agree with what Chidi said, that a lot depends on the role of political leaders to anticipate and find ways to douse such possibilities. But I think there's also been another trend now where, before people used to go back to vote where they came from originally, but there's been a different movement that people should stay where they are and vote where they are. So I'm not sure the extent to which it is true that we have massive migration back home because of fear of what will happen during elections. I think if there have been such incidents, I'm sure that they've not been on the general, they may be localized, but on a general scale. So I think it's important to emphasize the role of political leaders and community leaders to create a sense of citizenship among all those who are residing in particular communities and locations in the state.
Georgina, the challenge has been thrown to you. On the panel today, you are the only politician. And people are saying that you are the ones looking for votes, you are the ones who should assure people that they are safe wherever it is they want to vote.
Yes, just on Monday, the Inter-Party Advisory Council, we had a nationwide voters sensitization workshop and seminar and roadshow. We were in 7 cities in Nigeria, 6 cities across the nation. We were in Jos, we were in Enugu, we were in Uyo, we were in Ogun State, several other states, Sokoto as well. We had gone there basically to preach no violence during elections. We were on the street engaging the populace, talking to them about the need. And we had, in those various states, we had delegates from states in that region. For instance, North Central, where I was assigned to, we had 4 delegates each from each of the states in the North Central region to come for that conference and take it back home to their states on the need for no violence. Because basically, what the IPAC is about friendliness in politics, improving the political process. So we need citizens not to fight. Politics is not a do or die affair. You should shun violence. And that's been the message we've been, this administration has been on about, and we've gone all out. We were in Ekiti State in the previous elections about this no violence. And we are concerned because a lot of people that are moving from those areas probably have PVCs in those areas, so we're going to be losing votes in those areas. So we don't want people moving around, and because of that, we had to engage them on the streets, not to fight, not to sell their votes, and to make sure that they're part of the Nigerian project, because their vote is their power.
All right.
I was going to take you up on something, because the last question you said, oh, you're a politician. So let me take you up on something you should be able to respond to. There's a lot of focus on the presidential elections, but we also have National Assembly elections as well as state houses of assembly, where you see many new entrants into the ring. How do you see it? Do you think there will be any major upsets tomorrow? I mean, how do you see it as a politician?
Even though I'm a politician, I'm here as the National Secretary of IPAC, which is the general body of all political parties. So I'm speaking not as my party. But for the presidential race, it's quite clear that we have 2 frontrunners. So there may not be major upsets in that regard, although, in 2015, we saw that an incumbent could be removed, so that's a possibility as well, but we don't foresee any major upsets. It's actually a race between these 2 frontrunners. For the other positions, I see with the Not Too Young to Run bill being passed into law, and then too many young people coming on board, and it has made the process more robust. We have people going to the streets now. I think Nigerians are more conscious, more aware of the fact that their vote is their power. So vote buying might not be so rampant as it was in other elections. Plus the fact that a majority of the new voters now are young people who are more enlightened, who understand the power of their votes, who understand the process. So yes, there will definitely be some major upsets in other levels of election.
Okay, I'm afraid we're going to have to anchor it at that point. Yes, thank you. I'm afraid we're going to have to anchor it at that point as we've come to the end of this segment of the verdict, but the live coverage does continue. Let me start by thanking Professor Chidi Odinkalu, former
Former chairman
of the National Human Rights Commission, and also Professor Adele Jinodu, Consultant, Center for Democracy and Development. Also to thank there the National Secretary of the Inter-Party Advisory Committee, Georgina Dapopo, and here in Lagos with us to thank Malaki Ugumadu, President, we got it right this time, Committee for the Defense of Human Rights. Thank you so much for being with us, guys.
Thank you. Yes, indeed. We'll take a break and then we'll go for the news update.
But also post stream as well, so the live coverage continues.